Hello everyone, it is Minute Plus Meditation here. It is July 22nd, so it's actually the birthday of my mother. So even though you don't know her, you pray for Maureen Hamilton on her birthday, her 93rd birthday. I believe she's 93 today. Okay, so 2 Corinthians chapter 5, first reading. The love of Christ urges us on because we are convinced that that one has died for all, therefore all have died. And he died for all, so that those who might live might live no longer for themselves, but for him who died and was raised for them. So this reading captures St. Paul's passionate love for Jesus Christ. The love of Christ urges us on. This is perhaps in some ways a reflection of the love that Mary Magdalene had for Jesus. She truly loved him, but was not in love with him, like some of these heretical films have portrayed in the last 50 years. Most of them are okay, but there's been a few that are just garbage, because she was not in love with him. This was not a romantic love in the typical sense of the word, but she truly loved Christ. But Peter loved Christ. He gave him his whole heart, mind, and soul. It took time, mind you, but Peter loved Jesus. John loved Jesus. Mary Magdalene truly loved Jesus. He was her rabbi, her rabboni, right, her Lord. And she understood, I'm not sure at what point, that he was her God as well. And that Jesus had freed her from possession, from a very sinful life on the way to damnation, and she never forgot this. And this is a real example for you and me, because many times we go to confession after committing mortal sin. Depends on what kind they are. Maybe we don't feel like we're on the verge of hell. Oh, I just missed a mass, what is that? Yeah, but we can actually go to hell for that if we intentionally missed mass. For us Catholics, but we don't feel that. It's like when we're perhaps dying because of alcoholic poisoning or something, or because of some sexual sin. Oh, I just missed a mass. But you can go to hell for that as a Catholic, because it's a grave sin, right? It's a grave matter. If we could have gone and we refused to go. So only God can ultimately judge the state of one's soul, but we know objectively that can lead to a loss of eternal salvation. So maybe we don't feel it all the time, but Christ has saved us every time we've gone to confession and repented of those things. So we should strive to have this same love for Jesus, that he dominates everything. He directs our life like he directed the life of Mary Magdalene. Okay, over to the Gospel, John chapter 20. It's about Mary Magdalene, of course, early on in the first day of the week, while it was still dark. So we're talking very early. Mary Magdalene came to the tomb and saw that the stone had been removed from the tomb. And she stood weeping, and we know what happens. She sees the angels, and then she turns around, and Jesus is right there, but she doesn't recognize him right away. Mary went to the tomb for a corpse. She loved him. She wasn't going to depart from him. She was heartbroken. She was desolate. She was in the dark night. She was going for a corpse, right? So she didn't expect the resurrection. And yet, this is what she's blessed with, because she's the first one there. She becomes the apostle to the apostles. That's the way the early church described her, the apostle to the apostles. Her love drives her there even before the apostles. And she's blessed. She's graced with seeing these two angels. And then she turns around and Jesus is there. She doesn't recognize him at first. But then he says the key word, Mary. And however he said that, it broke something in her, and she recognizes him, Master, Rabboni, and she now knows that he's alive, and she goes to the apostles. You and I, often maybe we go to Mass sometimes thinking, is Jesus really here? I don't know. I hope we never do. I hope you never do. Many Catholics do, I think. Statistics say that's what happens. There's now a Eucharistic revival that's taking place in the U.S. It should take place in our life every single day. Even if I'm blessed to have the Blessed Sacrament here in this chapel, but people can't have that in their homes. But you can have you know where Jesus is geographically. You should actually, in your mind, you should know from your home and from your office where the nearest Catholic church is and where the tabernacle is, and point yourself in that direction and make spiritual communions. And ask our Lord to stoke your faith, to strengthen your faith in the real presence, His real presence in the Holy Eucharist, so that I never go into a church thinking that Jesus is not here. Of course He's here. Our genuflections tell Jesus, my Lord and my God, I believe that you are firmly here. I firmly believe that you are here, that you see me, that you hear me. I adore you with profound reverence, and I ask your pardon for my sins, and so on. So Mary Magdalene is a real model for us. Ask her from her place in heaven to stoke your faith, to acknowledge Jesus' presence, and to really try to love Him more and more each and every single day. God bless you.